so much for joining me on Assisted LAUDABLE Living. I am your host, Jasheena Shelton, and we're going to jump right on in this week because I got some questions. Y'all know that I keep a question handy. So this is what happened. I was doing some studying, listening to some podcasts, which led me down a rabbit trail. And this one lady said, we who are Christian, call ourselves Christian in Christ, should not celebrate the season of Lent. Now, at my ripe old middle age self, I have always celebrated Lent. It was it was one of those things we just did growing up in the church that I grew up in, and it was a wonderful Baptist church in the South, not Southern Baptist church in the South. And that was one of the things we did from Ash Wednesday all the way to Easter Sunday. We had that 40-day span and we were celebrating Lent. During this time of Lent, there were calls, of course, to fast, to abstain from something, and then to give that time that you would partake in that something unto God. And also we had Lenten gleaners, which was like cute little, for the kids, it was like dimes. You put a dime in each gleaner when you say your prayers at night. For adults, it could be quarters. And at the end, I want to say maybe Palm Sunday, we would turn in our Lenten gleaners, and kids would be so proud. As an adult, the tradition continued, and I never once questioned, should a Christian participate in Lent? And so I was taken aback. I was like, oh, the heresy, ma'am, that you are speaking of. What? In my being taken aback, I realized I might have been convicted at the same time. And here's why. For so long, I took the tradition as just like one of the standards of faith, like one of the pillars of our faith. For this period, we do this. 40 days for Pentecost, we do this. But, before Christmas, there's Advent. We do this. And, the number 40 is very significant. There are multiple times in the Bible where things happen over a 40-day stretch. 40 days of temptation, 40 days of Elijah, 40 days, the flood. So what? 40 days for Lent, right? Right. Even when Easter changes, I didn't really question that. I studied it. I know why. But Lent, I can't have the Lenten season. What are you saying, lady? But upon further research, the basis or the thesis of what she was saying is Jesus didn't celebrate Lent. So if you are to follow in the footsteps of Jesus, that is not one of the holidays that he would have celebrated. Of course, it's not one of the holidays he would have celebrated. It's a holiday to celebrate him. So now here comes the cognitive dissonance. The know better, do better, think better, act better, be better. However, ma'am, you don't understand. Not only have I been Baptist, let's just say all my life, baptized at a very young age in church multiple days of the week for years upon years upon years upon years of my life. I would fairly say up until around COVID, maybe a little before COVID, in church every Sunday. Yeah. Went to seminary, dropped out, whole nother show. Ordained, licensed minister, ordained minister, do all the things, ministering for over 20 some years now. Woo-hoo, to God be the glory. Never once did I question Lent. I base my calendar at Christian holidays, so I don't miss things. And so now you're saying, you're out here reaching, you're saying, because she has to be reaching, she can't be all the way factual, right? Or can she? Let's jump into it. This is what she said. She said, if we're modeling after the footsteps of Jesus, Jesus did not celebrate Lent. And I get you. Logically, you're right. So where did Lent come from? Where did this come from? And how is it so ingrained into present day Christianity? Okay, let's look at this together. Because for those who don't know, there is 40 days before Palm Sunday that is observed. So it's technically Ash Wednesday to Palm Sunday, 40 days. Or some people say 40 days from Ash Wednesday to Resurrection, and then they take off Sundays. Anyways, we did 40 days Ash Wednesday all the way through Palm Sunday, or Ash Wednesday all the way to Easter. We didn't get any days off, okay? During this time is set aside for you to really reflect on the gift that was given. And anyone who knows me and like really knows me knows that resurrection is my favorite time of the year. Not only is it spring, not only is it around my birthday, but to reflect on all that resurrection means to me and my faith. Oh, I love this time of the year. And so for years, like, this has been like big. For me, even in my household, this season is bigger than Christmas. Like, people get happy at Christmas. Okay, I understand people need something to look forward to in dark seasons, yada, yada. Cool, do you. If Christmas is your holiday, do you. My holiday is the resurrection season. Because when I think of the promise and the action and the commitment that happened in my place for me, personally, I rejoice. Y'all, cause I rejoice because the good news, the gospel solidified, right? God sent his son into the world, and the world said, "Nah, we don't want that. We want him to come this way. We think he should do this. Oh no, this is blasphemy. Oh no." So one day they're like, "Oh my gosh, Hosanna, we see that you're doing things." People coming to him at night, "Oh teacher, oh rabbi, oh Rabboni, we know that you are a great man. We understand that you were sent by God. However, the stuff that you're teaching and speaking about, we don't really know about that." Did it stop his mission? It did not. He kept on and he kept on. Even when he had asked his disciples, "Who did you say that I am?" And they couldn't even come up with answers. None of that stopped this last week of his life. So they went from Hosanna, Hosanna to crucify him, crucify him. The same group of people, the same group of people did that. And then he got beat. And he got unjustly beat. He got more than the legal requirement of beating. Like, to the skin is ripped from his body. Y'all seen the Passions of the Christ, and that's just a minor depiction. But if you needed a visual, that gave you a visual that made many of us, that stirred up something on the inside of us, where we felt a little Peterish, like, oh my gosh, somebody's ear has to come off for this. However, that did not stop him. Then he presses his way up the hill with a cross on his back, his bloody back. Oh my gosh. And then he is nailed, like the actual nails in his hands and feet on a cross. Then, and the story continues. And then after that, the cross is hoisted into the air on a hill, and there's two thieves beside him, and they absolutely deserve to be there, because if you do the crime, you got to do the time. However, he didn't even do the crime. I did the crime, and truthfully, you did the crime too. But I that's neither here nor there. I did the crime, and that should have been part of my punishment system. However, he went in my place, and then hung his head, crown of thorns, the blood came streaming down, pierced in his side, laid in a borrowed tomb, and then goes down into the depths of Hades and takes back the keys, and then appears to them outside of the tomb, asking, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead?" Because that's not it. He told them he was coming back, and he did. And he did for me. For me. If y'all knew how many times I messed up on a day. I mess up on a daily, on a weekly. And he stood in my place. And he died. And he came back. So all the other religions can really miss me, because whatever you serve did not die for you in your place and did not come back for you, and then promised to come back again. So why wouldn't I take 40 days to consecrate right? And really reflect and say my prayers and read my devotion and rededicate my life and have a renewed commitment and have it in a season of spring with new birth and new life and everything is coming forth. Why wouldn't I get excited about that? It was really like she popped my balloon. Like, I am 4 years old at a birthday party and you came along and you thought it was a good idea to pop my balloon. So we're going to look at it because I can't be the only person in this boat. Like, if I have a pop balloon, equal opportunity, we all going to have some pop balloons. Okay? Okay, great. Because we have to make a choice now. We have to make a choice. But before we make the choice, we have to know why we're making the choice, right? Because each one of us has to know for ourselves why we do the things that we do. And we have to have it in our mind. We have to have it in our hearts. We have to go off of our belief that because our relationship with Christ is the most important relationship we're going to have. Our relationship with God is the most important relationship we're going to have. Our relationship with the Holy Spirit is the most important relationship we're going to have. And since it's God 3 in 1, triune being, that is the most important relationship we're going to have. So if we're consecrating time, if we are abstaining from, if we're leaving stuff behind for that set purpose, I don't feel like we should cancel Lent. I know. Now, you may feel differently. Feel free to leave in the comments. I am up for intellectual discourse. However, I'm trying to take my feelings out of it. Because here's the thing. The person who taught me about Lent, who taught me about prayer and consecration and fasting and seeking God and praying at night and getting on your knees and interceding and all the things that go with it, was my grandmother. And if you know anything about me, you know I was raised by the best. There will never be another Sally Mae Foster in the land of the living on earth as we know it. So the seeds that she sown were good seeds, right? Right, they had to have been good seeds. And so then I start questioning things like, okay, what did she know? And is this just the way we were raised? Is this just what it is? Let's stand on the truth about the situation. Okay, so in the Bible, there are feasts, there are celebrations, there are things that we should absolutely celebrate, right? So of course I looked it up, boom, boom, boom. And this is not, okay, so this is AI information, right? Because I asked the question, what are the biblical Jewish festivals, right? And so the biblical Jewish festivals or feasts include Passover, the Feast of Weeks, the Feast of Tabernacles, Jewish New Year, Day of Atonement. Okay? That's what they gave me, right? So Passover commemorates the Israelites' liberation from slavery in Egypt, celebrated in the spring. Now, Passover oftentimes will overlap with the Lenten season, right? Spring of the year. Okay, great. The Feast of Weeks celebrates the giving of the 10 Commandments to Moses on Mount Sinai, is also a harvest festival. For us, we celebrate that in the fall of the year. Then we got the Feast of Tabernacles, week-long festival of remembrance of the Israelites wandering in the desert, through which people traditionally live in temporary shelters. Self-explanatory. Rosh Hashanah, Jewish New Year. The Jewish New Year marked by the blowing of the shofar, the ram's horn, and a time of reflection and repentance. Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement, the holiest day of the Jewish year, a day of fasting, prayer, and atonement for sins. I don't see Lent on the list. And what I know to be true is that Jesus was Jewish. He was of the Jewish faith, right? So Lent was not a holiday that he would have, of course, celebrated, because how does he celebrate himself during the birth? Yeah, right. So those were the Jewish holidays. So then I'm like, well, wait. As a Christian, is it just a 40-day situation, or is this part of the lifelong commitment? Because what I have seen is people, like when the calendar changes, January the 1st, 21 days, maybe even the first month, people would dedicate that time and fast and pray for the first 21 days to start the new year, kick the new year off right. However, as soon as day 22 gets here, they return back to their old ways. With all these festivals and feasts and things that we have decided to make holidays and celebrations and traditions, are we really consecrating for a lifestyle change? Because if we're saying, I want to take this 40 days leading up to this point in history or this point on the calendar, what happens on day 41? If it was important enough to do for 40 days, is it also important enough to continue? So if you say, hey, I'm going to turn my television off at 7:30 p.m., I'm going to read my word for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to practice good sleep hygiene. Is that not a lifestyle? Like, should that not continue? Because if we're setting up good habits and we're making good choices, and it's about consecration, and it's to get us closer in our relationship, is that not what we're supposed to be doing anyways? So why are we just limiting it to 40 days when it really could be a lifestyle? When a lot of things that we are giving up, we shouldn't have picked up in the first place. Because a lot of things that we use to fill our times and our stomachs are artificial. Yeah, don't worry, I'm stepping on my toes too. Artificial meaning they have no lasting sustenance. Like one thing that I really like and I enjoy, I'll share with you guys. Cute little candy. I'm not going to name the candy, but you know what this is. You can see that? Cute little candy. A little piece of paper on it. I enjoy this. And I'm sure in moderation, it's not the worst thing in the world, right? However, there have been seasons where I'm like, I'm consecrating myself. I shall not adhere to these things. I will give up this chocolate because chocolate can, for me, be, a delightful, tasty treat. However, too much of anything, it's not good for you, right? And so, yes, I have that in arm's reach, but what about the things that I'm not supposed to have? So I'm on this I am on a wellness journey. Me versus me has been my theme for, has been my theme for a couple of years now. And with that, there are certain things I've had to turn my back away from. There are certain alarms I have to put on my devices. There are certain timers that I have. There are certain reminders that I have. Hey, you're spending too much time with this. You're not spending enough time over here. You're doing too much of this. Or this is the set time that you need to do that. Should we not have regular time in our word? Like, if we're to eat this word, remember, Life Application Bible, that's what I'm using now. If we were to eat this, how do I eat this? Well, in real food times, I eat 3 meals a day, right? Shouldn't I be on a spiritual track that would have me doing that as well? Like eating in the word, like taking the time to chew it and let it do what it do and then swallow it so it can go through the digestional process so my body will keep the things that I need and then eliminate the stuff that I don't. Like, shouldn't the elimination part be something I practice on a regular? If I say I want to be Christ-like, there is a saying that I've heard. It says, holiness is still right. And I want to pause on that because I absolutely, positively believe that holiness is still right on so many fronts. However, it has not been a priority. Our lifestyles are not reflecting this, right? We can go in the church building all day long and then come out the building and do whatever it is we want to do. I've seen it. I've done it. I know it to be true. However, upon studying and reading and seeing this, and now this latest smack to my face about something that I am going to be in constant prayer, because I've been wrestling this for a couple weeks now, about how would you have me to respond to this, God? this new information, because one thing for certain, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I do not want to be double-minded. I do want to hold the things in reverence that God would have me reverence, and I do want to let go of the stuff that the world would have me to hold on to, right? I feel that that's the journey that I'm on. So if it's not meant for me to do the quote-unquote traditional things for Lent, is it because it is meant for me to make this my lifestyle? Or is it because some man-made tradition came in here and upset the fact that I'm supposed to be in a relationship? And if I'm in a relationship, I'm not going to do things that would jeopardize the relationship in the first place. Right? And so my relationship with God is the top tier thing on any to-do list or any agenda that I have. And so I need to make sure I'm in right alignment. I have too many people outside of myself depending on me, right? I have footprints that I'm leaving. I have impressions that I'm making. I have things that I'm influencing. And I want to be right. And I want it all to point to God. There was a time when, oh, look at my name in lights. That's awesome. Or look at my name on this degree. Look at my name on this certificate. Look at my name on that certification. Look at my name. And that's fading more and more. Ooh, look at the God I serve. Look at what's happening because I'm walking in obedience with God. Look at what is happening because, I humbled myself before the hand of the Almighty. Look at what happened because I'm learning to use the tools of self-control. I'm learning to use discernment. I'm learning to use silence as a weapon. Everything does not deserve my response. Right? And everyone doesn't need me to come in and save them from themselves and their choices. And sometimes I have to be okay letting people reap the harvest that they planted. Yeah. And so I said that to say, I really think that members of a previous generation, one, did the best they could with what they knew, and two, passed down some and imparted some divine wisdom. But we're just at a place at 2025 that we have wisdom and knowledge and information impartation, and we have to be careful of what we allow to come in, and also we have to be careful what we keep out. And with that, we have to decide, is this just a 40-day season, or is this a lifestyle? So for me, I am trying to make this a lifestyle. Everything that I wanted to give up for Lent or rededicate for Lent, I want to give up. I don't want it. If it stands between me and him, I don't want it. I don't need it. And it did me a disservice. And it wasn't really for me. It might have tasted good to me. It might have felt good in the moment. But if it comes between me and him, it can no longer be a part of my life. It no longer serves me. I'm on a different road now. I am new creature. And so if you're on this journey, what are some of the traditions that you've been told and taught and held on to that may not be just for a season, may be called to become your lifestyle? Oh, we're going to explore it. We're going to talk about this on Assisted Laudable Living, because laudable, archaic definition again, is to healing. How can we heal what we're not confessing and talking about and releasing? So we're on this journey together, and I'm excited to see where it takes us. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been another episode of Assisted Laudable Living, hosted by me, Jasheena RevJ Shelton. Y'all have a great one.